Once upon a time, there lived a very beautiful girl named Furul. Furul lived with her parents in a very small village. Her mother was once the most beautiful woman in the village, who was the delight of many, as all the eligible bachelors in the village wanted her to be their bride. Furul's father was considered the luckiest man in the village to have married Furul's mother, as not even the prince of the village was able to win her heart. Furul grew up to be more beautiful than her mother and was admired by all the maidens in the village. One day, Furul was returning home from the stream when she saw a giant snake staring directly at her. She was terrified as she had never seen a snake that big in her life. The snake gently approached her, and Furul screamed at the top of her voice, shutting her eyes in fear. By the time she opened her eyes, the snake had gone, and Furul took to her heels as she ran back home in fear. Furul got home and told her mother what happened, and her mother comforted her as she was glad that nothing had happened to her daughter. As days turned into weeks, strange occurrences began to take place. Furul would often find herself in dangerous situations, only to be miraculously saved by the snake. Once, Furul was about to step on a venomous scorpion when the snake appeared out of nowhere, hissing loudly to alert her. Furul caught sight of the dangerous scorpion and the snake hissing in front of her. She was so frightened and returned home. The thought of the snake could not leave her mind, and Furul wondered what the snake wanted with her. As night came, Furul retired to bed and had a very terrifying dream where she saw herself as a snake, hissing and moving next to the snake she had always seen in the bushes. She woke up terrified as she ran to her mother's room to tell her all about her horrifying dream. Her mother comforted her and assured her that it was only a dream. The next evening, Furul went to the forest to collect some firewood when the snake appeared in front of her. Filled with fear, she ran a short distance and noticed that the tree branch above where she was just standing fell to the ground, missing her by mere inches. Furul turned to look at the snake and noticed that it slithered away quietly without harming her. In a state of confusion, Furul decided to follow the snake, as it was well evident that the snake was there to protect her and not to harm her. She followed the snake quietly as it guided her to its cave. Furul lacked the courage to approach the snake, so she ran back home in fear. Little did she know that someone had trailed them from behind when she heard her scream. A maiden in the village named Firi had heard Furul's loud scream and rushed to check what it was when she saw Furul and the huge snake staring at each other from a distance. Filled with curiosity, Firi followed Furul and the snake as she wondered what connection Furul had with the snake. Firi then decided to peddle rumors in the village saying that Furul had some dark powers that made her control snakes. She told the villagers how a snake in the forest saved Furul from a falling branch. Firi's gossip quickly spread through the village like wildfire. Whispers and hushed conversations erupted, with some villagers becoming suspicious of Furul. They wondered if Furul was in alliance with dark forces, whilst others believed it was simply a desperate attempt by Firi to discredit Furul out of jealousy. This, however, did not deter the young men in the village who had intentions of seeking for Furul's hand in marriage. Furo was by far the most beautiful maiden in the village, and the men were all blinded by her beauty. A young man named Tamuno came to ask for Furo's hand in marriage. Tamuno was a very handsome farmer with a great track record in the village. He met Furo at the last concluded festival, and since then, they have been spending time getting to know one another. Furo had rejected all the marriage proposals from other eligible bachelors in the village, as Tamuno promised to marry her. Tamuno met with Furo's parents and family and declared his intention to marry Furo, and a date for the marriage introduction was set. Furo fantasized about her life with Tamuno, as he was everything she had ever dreamed of. The day of the marriage introduction arrived, and Furo looked absolutely beautiful. Everyone gathered to witness the marriage ceremony when suddenly the huge snake slithered into their midst, scaring everyone away, including Tamuno, who never spoke to Furo again. This broke Furo, as the whole village avoided her, believing she had some connection with some dark forces. Furo ran away from her village to live with her mother's best friend, Ibinye, who was her godmother, living in the neighboring village. This was a great escape for Furo, as she could no longer stand all the happenings in her village. Furo spoke to her godmother Ibinye about the giant snake and how the snake managed to ruin her life. Her godmother then came up with a plan for them to kill the snake before it ruined Furo's life even further. They journeyed back to Furo's village, and Furo led her godmother to the cave where the snake lived. The snake was fast asleep, so Furo and her godmother quietly approached the snake. Furo then raised her knife and tried to plunge the knife into the head of the snake when it suddenly woke up and bit Ibinye, scaring Furo, who mistakenly slit her hand with the knife, spilling her blood all over the snake. To everyone's astonishment, the snake began to change. Its scales dissolved into human skin, and in a matter of seconds, it transformed into a beautiful girl who looked so much like Furo. Furo's heart raced as she stared at the girl in disbelief. She could not understand why the girl looked so much like her, so she ran home to tell her mother how the giant snake turned into a girl that looked exactly like her. Furo's mother then revealed to her that when she gave birth to Furo, everyone was in jubilation when suddenly she felt an urge to push. She pushed once more, and a snake came out, scaring everyone in the room. Furo's mother took the snake to the forest and abandoned it in the forest, as she did not want anyone in the village to find out about what had happened. Overwhelmed with emotions, Furo and her mother returned to the forest to find the girl. When they arrived the forest, they saw the girl, who looked frightened and confused. Next to her was Furo's godmother Ibinye, who was now acting weird. She had run mad, and when she saw Furo and her mother, she began to make shocking revelations. She revealed that many years ago, Furo's mother took something that belonged to her. She said to Furo, "Your mother and I were best of friends, and I was in love with a man who fell deeply in love with your mother. Out of jealousy, when I heard that your mother was pregnant for you, I visited an evil juju to turn your mother's unborn baby into a snake. Little did we know that your mother was pregnant with twins. When your mother gave birth, I thought the charm did not work, as she had a healthy baby. Little did I know that one of her babies came out as a snake. I only got to find this out when you told me about the snake that had been appearing to you in the forest. I visited my juju man and he revealed to me that that snake was your mother's second child. I then decided to come up with a plan to kill the snake to hide my tracks. Furo's godmother said as she began to laugh so loudly. She had been struck with madness, and Furo believed that her sister's transformation was behind her godmother's madness. That was how Furo realized that the snake that she had been seeing in the forest was her twin sister. They got to know each other better, and Furo's twin then revealed to her the reason why she did everything within her power to end Furo's marriage with Tamuno. Tamuno had made a bet with his friends to marry Furo, and he did everything right so as to win Furo's heart and also win his bet. Furo's twin knew that if she allowed the marriage to proceed, Furo would be subjected to a life of misery and disgrace, so she had to intervene to save her sister from hurt. When Furo heard this, she apologized to her twin sister and hugged her tightly. Her heart ached for the pain and loneliness her sister must have endured as a snake. The whole village was astonished by the turn of events, and Furo's twin sister was welcomed into the family with open arms. From then on, Furo and her sister lived happily, their bond stronger than ever, and the village marveled at the extraordinary tale of Furo and her long lost